And one of the other things I wanted to mention, specifically looking at the two front runners in this year's race, also Q though, also Ryan. Frankly, I mean, Mitch has had a pretty solid relationship with his wife and been with his wife for a long time. But you look at Iditarod, how all-consuming it is. You're looking at Brent, Dallas. They don't have a personal life worth focusing on. Dallas's wife, the relationship fell apart, and that was someone who was hired by his family, and just as someone who was in the sport at a young age, it was sort of there's the glacier tourism operations, which a lot of the young mushers go and work in. And if the stars align and you find a coworker who you're with, I mean, that becomes awkward because as you're trying to move your way up, maybe become a manager of one of those operations, all of a sudden there's some conflicts of interest where your personal and professional life are getting mixed up. And that's the same thing you see with these mushers, where they're a lot of times hiring their spouses, their spouses or their handlers or whatever like that. And it becomes, even if there's a connection, there's chemistry, and things are going great. Hey hero, hey hero, and everything's going great for a while. It can kind of create an awkward thing. That's why it's nice to see someone like, I think I would mention and highlight and focus like Jeff Dieter and Katie Joe Dieter. Back, a little bit further back, Jeff's still, in the general competitive area of the race, the top half of the race, and his wife, his spouse, is in the race this year. Her and the Jeff is someone I know, haven't talked to again in years, but never met his wife, and his wife is out there on her rookie run, and it's much more of a balanced thing. And I just wanted to focus and just say it. Having a great race, winning the Iditarod. I mean, if your personal life is a shambles, the 365 days of the year, the other 355, in other words, they're really, you won the race, you got your name in the paper, blah blah blah. The way to win, the hard truth is like, especially as a music artist, I guess I can say it as a writer too. A lot of what we do when we're doing the songs and stuff, we're going back, we're reliving the good and the bad in relationships and personal relationships, and you know, kind of always rehashing those great times, and also looking at where the breakups were. So and coming from the angle of a music artist, and now today, as I'm looking at the Iditarod field and reflecting on my youth as a dog musher, especially my young years, 18 through 22, 23, in Alaska, working and girlfriends, and trying to balance, trying to pursue the Iditarod dream, and the relationships that worked out, the ones that didn't, for myself, but then also for the other people who I was, friends with, and who were coworkers, and who were mentors, and who I, younger and older than me, in that general ballpark age, when I was kind of in that sport, and in that age bracket, I can really see, um, you know, there was nothing in the Iditarod. I can just say it, there was nothing ever that happened on a dog sled race that was as good. It's sort of a funny thing to say. I kind of laugh saying it, but it was as good as, like, good times in a relationship uh, with someone who you were in love with. So it's like, if Jeff Dieter or if Musher X is coming in 20th or something like that, but the rest of the year they've just got this great chemistry with the romantic partner. They've got a business, they've got other things going on. They're having a great time. They're yin and yang. It's balanced when they're out there. They're training together. They're living together. Working together. That's more of a victory. Is the hard truth. That is more of an accomplishment. Is the conclusion that I draw when I reflect Dallas, when I reflect Brent. These are single guys. Brent lives in a very remote location, in mainly Hot Springs. He's, basically, to get a girl to go out there, it's got to be an employee, and there isn't a lot of women out there. And even though he's, Gulfstream and Fairbanks, it's something where, it's the mushing is something, not just how it's all consuming and time consuming. It's something that kind of isolates you on a lot of different levels, I think, and it's something that can be hard to. Uh, just because it's not a normal, like, in this civilization, in this day, like, women, people generally, they like to go to the gym, they like to go to Starbucks, not Starbucks, but they like to go out, dine out, staring at dog bucks and putting on dog booties and 50 below zero for a month, and living in the middle of nowhere isn't on everyone's bucket list. You know what I mean? If you're some cute chick. So we've got a few women in the race. Michelle Phillips, Paige Drobny, are there any women who are in that top group? Maybe Paige Drobny, maybe Michelle Phillips. the rookie of the year is a woman from Europe who I don't know, never heard of, and and then I like Katie Jo Dieter as I kind of what I was mentioning that a rookie too, but uh, but again, I think it's like anything. If you chase something so much, and you've got your tunnel vision, you can lose sight and lose perspective and lose context of what's really good and what really matters. So, but of course, on the other side of that is you can just say, well, love and sex are just for sale everywhere, and we don't care. So, and that's part of it too. I mean, Fairbanks is a military town, and Anchorage is a military town too, frankly. So, and maybe Brent's just got a great personal life. I know nothing about it, and Dallas has got a great new girlfriend, and I know nothing about it too. And everything's going wonderful and successful for them. And I'm just rambling here, but I don't think that's the case. I think Jeff's another guy. Pretty much all these Iditarod champions, a lot of them, it's something where it's something that it's economically consuming too, and it's just something where it's just so it becomes about the ego of the musher, and it becomes about the musher wanting to get their name in the headlines, and blah blah blah, and it's not something that focuses on like as a music artist. Again, it's like the stuff that I think the music industry, and the best songs focus on. It focuses on, you know, it really focuses on the relationships, the good, the bad of relationships, romantic relationships, not business relationships, and you know, and can emotionally reach and touch people like that. And that sort of is a writer too, not just as a songwriter, but as a writer too. That's the stuff you go back to, you relive, you focus on, uh, and the stuff that's sort of transformational for people in terms of unlocking their abilities and potential in life, when they're able to connect and they have the good chemistry and stuff like that. So it was just something that I thought worth mentioning because I'm kind of rambling on about the front runners and Brant Dallas, blah blah blah, but we don't want to lose sight of the fact that you know these guys are sort of chasing the Iditarod dream and the Iditarod championship trophy here in 2022, and they have their whole life at the expense of so much else that is worthy of sort of chasing and worthy of focusing on when you're living your life. In Alaska or just as a young person, period. And both those guys in the front, Brent and Dallas, they've been positioned so well with economic support from their families. They're not underdogs by any sense of means. Even if they view themselves as an underdog, even if they're scrappy competitors, even if they live in the bush, even if they're hardworking, they have lots of resources from their family to support them. And Brent had a cabin rental thing with his dad. Goldstream Valley, Dallas has got tourism with his dad and his brother, in Anchorage, in Seward, also in Talkeetna now. And, they just buy businesses. They just buy other dog kennels. They bought a bunch of dogs from Burmeister. They can lease and organize these things and set these young people very much up, whether it's, Brent's dad set him up or, Dallas's family setting him up, set them very much up so that they can specialize and be successful at this sport of mushing. And I'm not, not being critical there. I'm just saying, like, when the family is so involved uh, in building that and setting their young person up for success so much, you know what I mean, in the sport of mushing or in anything, it's something where I think it makes it harder for that young person to integrate on equal footing with their peer group, with their potential romantic partners, because it's a family business type thing, you know what I mean, and that isolates you. So it was something when I was younger, I was really, it was just something when I was younger, when I was really into it, the biggest problem was just the economic challenge. It was something that I liked doing. I had got some good breedings and stuff, but it's just the economic challenge of trying to, and I really didn't have the, at their level, the support to put that together in terms of, oh, I've got a completely reliable summer business that's going to finance this. You know what I mean? And that wasn't there. I was struggling, trying to, work it out in these different businesses and stuff like that. And it's a tough economy for any young person in Alaska, regardless if they're a dog musher and they're trying to feed 20, 30 dogs and chase an Iditarod dream. So, you have to see the bigger picture. And I think that that's what this short video was about today that I wanted to mention. Again, so many Katie Jo Dieter, Jeff Dieter, and almost they're an exception, to the rule. Whereas in Iditarod, you see what the dog mushing does is it destroys relationships instead of enabling a healthy balanced relationship between a couple to sort of flourish, prosper, and work out. So to see a few where it does work out. It's encouraging, of course, but what I would mention and comment on with those front runners is that there is a toll, a personal life toll with chasing the Iditarod dream, and we really see that when we look at a Brent, we look at a Dallas, and we look at you know the trajectory of them as a competitor, but the trajectory also of you know their their personal life and how they're at the expense competing at a high level and focusing, specializing on Iditarod comes at I'm trying to get this camera angle right to make me look good, and it's hard to do, but because I was right there at the same place they were at, and I went through the same thing. So again, not critical of them as individuals. It's really just the way that sport is, how it's all consuming, time consuming, and it isolates you. Not just being in the middle of nowhere, doing the dog thing, but it just isolates you because it's really something where you have to have your network, your sponsors, your family business type aspect, and it cuts you off from your peer group, from communities, from going out to bars and that kind of thing. Even if you have that stuff and you've got great connections with people through those angles, it's something where anyone who's, I think, close to the Iditarod front runner or to the Iditarod musher, they can see it. Just it's such an egotistical thing. It's just something that's really about money. It's about finances. It's not necessarily about the person who's the best at this challenge, the best at this competition. It's really a big part of it is just getting the finances and the funding together for the race and being able to specialize and master those skill sets, etc. So something worth rambling on about for a second here before I run in with my dog somewhere.